My name is Wanye.
My name is Alice.
I'm Una.
My name is Elena Wusu.
My name is Maxwell Weiss. There was a few moments in Grand Army that resonated with me. It was almost like someone filmed my actual high school and put it on display, which I like.
Grand Army really confronts the issues head on.
It's incredible, and people really need to know.
I felt that our generation from this show can get that it's not just you. There are millions of these stories happening.
I grew up in Bolingbrook, Illinois. Growing up there was an experience in terms of just how diverse it was.
I had a happy upbringing because my family was so incredible. There were some struggles just being one of very few Asian people in a predominantly rich, white, preppy neighborhood.
I knew I was gay at a really young age. People always called me gay, and it wasn't until I looked up what gay was that I realized that was who I was. When kids would call me gay in school, I'd be like, I am gay, and you probably want to date me, and that's why you're mad. And it was something that was kind of hard and scary at first, because I was like, I'm so singular in this school. I'm the only kid that just can't even help being almost evidently queer. I really resonated with Dominique. She's raising her family by herself, helping her mom. She has to hold her own since she's female and black. She knows that anytime she comes out of pocket, anytime she gets mad, she has to hold herself down. I resonate with that so much.
You good? I'm good. I'm good.
My family, they're not even artists. They run a construction company. My mom would bring me to theaters, to musicals when I was younger, and I would watch and I'd be like, that's so amazing. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
My parents were separated, so I did have to go back and forth between houses. I mainly stayed with my mother in my small suburban town. That was a struggle in seeing other people have, I guess, what you would see as a traditional and full family, and it made me feel like I was missing something.
Maybe my first encounter receiving racist comments. I was in 4th grade, and then there were these girls who would torment me by chasing me during recess or whenever they saw me in the hallway, and they would stretch their eyes out and go, who am I? And it's at this point of my life, that seems ridiculous, but when you're 10, that is very traumatizing. And I think ever since then, I realized, oh, so I'm different, and in a lot of people's eyes, it's not a good thing.
I didn't go to a regular high school. I was miserable there, honestly. I didn't fit in. I felt like there was more for me. There was more for me to see. And I felt like my high school wasn't giving that to me. So when I got the opportunity to leave and go to community college, I took it immediately.
So you're 19 years old. You're a senior in college.
Yes.
I have to imagine that's different than what a lot of people experience.
It is. I think sometimes because of just stereotypes and stigmas around my gender and my race, people expect less of me. So when I say my accomplishments, not to brag, but just because it's the truth, people are automatically surprised. I never get, that's nice. More of are you sure? How?
When I first started doing ballet at 9 years old, my teachers were very, very strict on me. And I remember I was coming out of class crying because I wasn't perfect enough. I didn't have the same body as the other girls, let alone I wasn't even the same skin tone. I was darker than the other girls. I was shorter, I was chubbier, I was curvy. My directors literally put me aside one day, after class when I was 14 years old, and they were like, I'm sorry, Una, but you need to lose weight. We see you, and if you want to be in the productions, you're gonna have to lose some weight. I just don't think we can make a costume for you. Layla in Grand Army, she felt like she didn't fit in. She felt like everyone hated her. That's exactly how I felt in ballet.
You look much happier than when I saw you last. Yeah, well, it's a disguise.
One day in jazz class, my knee just popped, and I couldn't walk. I did the rest of the class in pain, almost crying. It's like the dancer mentality. The dancer mentality is, it's okay if you're injured. Because if you don't go to class, if you don't work, you're nothing. If I'm gonna be honest, when you're a dancer like that, college is not a priority. College is for college is just not for the professional ballet dancer. In your head, they put you in your head, college isn't, for that. It was like, you're getting your GED, you're going to LaGuardia Community College, they have a theater program, you're doing that.
Being bullied and receiving racist comments like when I was a kid, it's sad because our parents moved there so I could have a better life and a better future. But then I remember I would hide it from them for a while because I felt, I don't know, I didn't want to make them sad, honestly. So I kind of tried to, keep it together, fake a smile when I came home. But I just remember one day specifically when I just could not handle people bullying me back then. And I just remember running into my mom's arms. Oh my God, I feel so dramatic right now. And just being like, Mom, can we please move to a more Asian town?
College was an interesting experience. It was a culture shock in a reverse way, right? You hear a lot of people say, oh my gosh, college is a culture shock because you are meeting people of backgrounds that you never met before, people who don't look like you. And I think for me, it was a reverse, where I came from Bolingbrook, where there are all types of different people, and then I go to college, and I'm one of few that look like me. In a huge lecture hall, I could count on my hands how many people actually look like me. And it dwindled throughout the semester. I think Grand Arbor really confronts the issues head on. They had the group of friends. They just kept throwing off some of these offensive things. There was one character, and he's kind of
it's not fun.
You could tell that he was uncomfortable. And I could relate to that in just how, even in the most diverse spaces where there's all these different people, there can still come those biases, even from your friends. I joined the student group, and there's this op-ed in the newspaper that was on the table at this person's place that was talking about affirmative action. And one person who was there was so adamantly against it and made a comment to the effect of, the reason why I was at the school was affirmative action. They tried to backtrack, but what they said had already been said. I played basketball, I played tennis, I was part of student council, I was volunteering everywhere. There's no other reason why I could have made it into the school besides the fact that affirmative action exists. And if that's what you think of me, what does everybody else think?
When I got to college, I came in very excited to be a part of the university I am part of. When the new wave of activism for the Black Lives Matter movement occurred, my school decided to put out a statement in support. However, I challenged that statement in saying, where is this activism reflected within your faculty, within your students, within the day-to-day community that you claim to support and be so active and live about? I was pushed immediately onto the Student Board of Education, where we review all the acts of the faculty now. And now I serve as a voice attempting to find people who are like me and bring them to the school. I understood Jason's confusion, being in this world that gives him so much, but being surrounded by individuals who also don't get the opportunity constantly. And what do you do when you're given the opportunity to speak up, but it also means tanking your career or taking your future, but it means being 110% true to yourself. And I felt that.
When they say representation matters, it truly, truly does. I saw this widely renowned K-pop boy group, and I will never forget the first time I saw them performing and in these big interviews and winning awards. I was like, hold the phone. A South Korean group is doing this well in America. What is going on? I was truly mind blown by seeing that because honestly, I had never seen that before. I always kind of felt like K-pop was seen as this weird thing, because growing up, I had to suppress my love for K-pop because people would make fun of it. After seeing them succeed so much, I was like, I can do that too, and my entire perception changed.
I'm at LaGuardia and I start to like it in my acting 1 class. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then my teacher, he's like, auditions are up for the fall play. I literally put in my head, I was like, you are going to audition for that play. You are going to get in. You are going to be in your first play ever. That really changed my life because, it wasn't the dancer Una. It wasn't ballet Una. It was actor Una. It's where I feel like I can be actual Una. So I'm going to transfer to a 4-year college and get my bachelor's. I thought, if I just worked my butt off, if I kept dancing 24/7, if I took no breaks, I would be the professional. And it didn't turn out like that. And I'm in a whole different pathway.
I heard about this party at a DIY venue in my area in Ridgewood, and it was for my favorite fashion brands. And I was like, oh, this is in Ridgewood, I'm gonna infiltrate. I'm just gonna find a way. I was talking to this person at the door, and they were like, we really can't let you in unless you're a volunteer. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm a volunteer. Yeah, I'm sorry, nice to meet you. And I shook his hand and I walked past the bouncer and I walked in, and he followed me and he walked up to the boss and said, hey, one of your interns is here. And I was like, nice to meet you, sir. My name is Max Levice. I guess I'm gonna work for you now. He ultimately told me that we're a collective of artists that all have different backgrounds, graffiti, wood sculpture, painting. I resonated with that. I resonated with the liberation, and I said, so does that mean if I work here, I can just create with you guys and just do my thing? And they're like, yeah, it's encouraged. Just come as you are, dress up, bring your art, bring your magazine, show us. And it was the first time I had people interested in my art and what I brought to the table. Afterwards, I became manager at that gallery, and we would travel to Miami for Art Basel, and we would go to LA and all these other places, and I was seeing all these different venues, all this different art. And I think that really quickly built who I was because I saw things that I liked and I took it. All these things that I saw from these beautiful, unapologetic people in the DIY scene helped build Vice a lot. Someone kind of just walked up to me and was like, I'm gonna call you Vice. She just said, like, your personality reminds you of Vice. Like, I can't get enough of you. You're like a bad habit. Maxwell's who I am in the daytime. It's who I am when I'm making the makeup concept, when I'm casting the models for my magazine, when I step in front of that camera. I'm Vice, and it's power in that, and everything that I've built in my queerness and my brownness and my New Yorkness is that, When people think of drag, they only think of drag queens and like glitz and glam and the big eyeliner and the heels, but drag is still a part of my life because drag is the clothing and the armor you put on to get out and be strong. The club world introduced me to drag, and it introduced me to a strength that I didn't think I was capable of.
When I went to orientation, I was alone, and I was 110% convinced that I wasn't going to go there. My mentor was actually one of the main reasons I went to college, despite not seeing anyone like me. And he singled me out in the crowd, and he said, you belong in this space. And I wasn't sure if I made the right decision, but he continued to guide me in the ways of existing and allowing myself to have my voice and be myself, but also understanding the environment around me won't always accept that or won't always understand that, and that was okay as well. My company is a production company for theater and film, and we focus on uplifting the voice of marginalized communities. People who don't usually get a chance, they have a chance with us.
I'm doing my master's in public health. But on the other side of things, I've always had an interest in film. I did a summer program. My topic with my group that summer was housing and homelessness. I had no idea about really the intricacies of that issue and that problem, and it's really on display here in Los Angeles. I was kind of taken aback by just how many people are living on the street. Part of our project was actually to go around Los Angeles and take pictures that represent our issue. Public health plays such a big role in people's lives in the way we vote. Healthcare, food, physical activity, housing, homelessness, all of these things that are part of our everyday lives, public health plays a part in. So my goal, I want to combine that hobby interest of taking photos. I'm taking biking videos of me biking around Los Angeles. I want to get the message out, communicate to people what's really going on in the world, and communicate how we can fix it, educate.
Quite honestly, the one who took a chance on me was myself. Before now, I didn't really believe in myself. I let so many things limit me. All I needed to do was believe in myself. So at this point, I'm thriving. Like more than anything else, I'm thriving. Wild Card was my first release, and it was a song about my journey, just limiting myself, being limited by others, suppressing this beast of a performer and singer my whole life, suppressing my love for my culture and hiding it. It talks about all that, but then how I'm on the come up and how I've evolved from that.
There's so much going on. I feel like everyone should be more open and aware to other people. I feel like we should start to learn how to hear one another and just fully grab what they're saying.
We need to educate people. We can't fix things if people don't know what's going on.
We as a society need to recognize more and more that we are just a reflection of one another, and you and I are the same.
I think we've seen history repeat itself so much. We've seen so much constant ignorance and so many patterns that we're done, and that's why we're loud. What other generation has kids out there at 11 dyeing their hair and doing drag looks and making content, making art, and exploring their gender identity and exploring their sexuality in safe, healthy ways? It was because we built that for ourselves. The older generations didn't build the worlds we make online, it was us.